Hey everyone, Pastor Andrew here with our midweek message, Life with Luke, number 16. Imagine for a second if you wanted to know the weight of this piano behind me. And I said, okay, let me get you the weight of the piano. And then I pulled out a measuring tape and I said, okay, let's see. This piano weighs 43 inches. How frustrated would you be with that answer? Hang on to that thought for just a second now, okay? A couple weeks ago, we looked at a passage where a bunch of religious leaders of Jesus' day got upset with Jesus because of who he was calling to be his disciples. Specifically, they got upset with him calling the disciple of Levi to follow him. Now, Levi was a tax collector. He didn't really measure up to the standards that the Pharisees used. You see, Levi, being a tax collector, would have been taking money from people just like the Pharisees and then handing it over to the Roman government, the very government that was oppressing people like these Jewish leaders, the Pharisees. And they were upset. They didn't understand. They were furious with Jesus. So why are you spending time with sinners and tax collectors, people like Levi over there, when you should be hanging out in the synagogue with people like us, people that measure up? You see, they had been using the wrong measuring tools. I can't imagine how God would have looked at that. He probably was super frustrated looking at the Pharisees saying, hold on, you're using the wrong measuring tool. When I asked you to weigh the piano, you were measuring it with a tape. And that's exactly what the Pharisees were doing. They were measuring their devotion to God and other people's devotion to God based upon all these rules that they had made up for themselves. And Jesus was saying, you know what, that's not as important. Not that it's not important, but it's not as important as just simply spending time with me. So I want to ask you today, what kind of rules have you made up for yourselves? What kind of things do you cling to? How do you measure your devotion to God? Whatever your answer is, it might be important to do a lot of the rituals and practices we do within the Christian church, but I want to make sure that we aren't replacing the number one way to measure our devotion to God with any of those other things. We need to be measuring our devotion to God first and foremost based upon how much time are we simply spending with Jesus. And as we're in the middle of a series within the Gospel of Luke called Drop It, I'd encourage you to just let go, to drop everything around you that might be getting in the way of simply spending time with Jesus. And as we do that, as we spend time with him, then all of these other measures of devotion naturally take place. We naturally hunger to read the Bible. We naturally hunger to pray. We naturally hunger to be a part of a church community and engage in these disciplines that help us grow closer to God. But first and foremost, our measuring tool should be how much time